It's been a while, guys. I'm here with Melinda. How do you say your last name?
Enfinger.
Enfinger. The jokes that might roll tonight.
I've heard them all.
She is a Marine. Can't say former Marine. You're a veteran, correct?
That's correct.
She has a life mission to help more veterans get into homes. She was doing some research and seeing that a lot of agents don't offer VA loan or VA financing on their listings. She reached out to me because of the Roughneck Real Estate Group, said, hey, I've got this mission. I think it's a cool cause. I'd kind of like to educate you more on it. And I was like, great, come on into Propelio. We'll educate everybody on it at the same time. It's going to put more money in your pocket if you're a real estate agent. If you're a mortgage broker, it's going to teach you some neat tricks. If you're an investor, it's going to give you a greater cause, a greater purpose. You're not going to want to miss this. We'll be right back after a message from our sponsors.
Propelio TV is sponsored by Noble Mortgage Investments, Batch Skip Tracing, Think Multifamily, CreativeCashflow.com, and Lifeonaire.
Melinda.
Yes, sir.
How are you doing? Introduce yourself. Tell the people where you're from.
I am from pretty much everywhere. Grew up in Arkansas, joined the Marine Corps, left at 17, and never looked back. And got to Texas as quick as I could about 9 years ago.
Dang. I know y'all are going to find this shocking, but I actually met Melinda. We've been Facebook friends for a while, but after Doc Robinson, I noticed that she was in the area. Like Facebook tells you when you're close to somebody because it's creepy like that. And so I slid into Melinda's DMs. I was like, hey, do you want to grab lunch? And she just left me on red. Like straight up left me on red. So the next time she messaged me, she was like, hey, I want to talk to you about something. And I was like, oh man, what's this going to be about? I was a little bit nervous, but it was this program that you work with the veterans. You're a real estate agent by trade, but you did a bunch of stuff with entrepreneurs and other stuff. You've got a pretty interesting story. Dive into that a little bit. Tell the people, how you got here, where you're at today.
Well, as I told you, I after I got out of the Marine Corps, got into real estate back in 2005, and sold real estate in North Carolina, helping first-time home buyers and veterans get into homes. Moved to Texas in 2010, and when I did, I was acting as the corporate training director for a small franchise here in Plano. And I noticed that all of my agents, all of the listings were coming across, and they didn't have, they were not offering VA financing. They were not offering to accept VA financing.
Right.
And I thought, well, surely all sellers in Texas aren't, jerks.
Anti-veteran.
Yeah, they're not, so something's got to be up.
So what were the reasons that they gave you why they didn't offer it? Well, I know some of the reasons that come to my mind, but what are some that you heard? What was the biggest objection you heard during
it's too hard. It's too hard. Oh, that's really bad for my sellers. It's going to cost my sellers a lot. And it's just super hard to get into a home with VA.
So me personally, we've never had somebody come with VA financing. I think on one deal we were going to have a VA offer. We always, on flips, if you don't own it for 90 days, I guess the 90-day rule is in effect on VA loans too. You have to own it 90 days. But we had one that we were stuck on. Unfortunately, we'd owned it 9 months. And so we had VA financing as part of it. And we were going to get an offer, but we never got that offer, so we didn't go with it. What are some of the trip hazards that people perceive? Because I hear the same thing in the market, like, hey, VA loans can be really hard to get. Like you might have to do repairs, whatever. What are the trip hazards that the real estate agents always tell you is the reason for them not wanting to offer the product?
One of the biggest reasons that they say right up front is it's going to cost my seller too much, and the appraisal's going to come in low, and we're going to have to do repairs. That's that's actually 3 reasons, but they kind of are always kind of bundled together. That seems to be the big fear is that it's not going to appraise, and it's just going to be a hassle. Well,
so what is that true? I mean, what is there mitigation? Do you have to do repairs? Is it going to cost money? Is there any truth to that statement?
Yes and no.
Okay.
There's a lot of ignorance surrounding the statement. So here's the thing: on a VA loan, the only protection the VA actually has is the appraisal process.
Okay.
Because they're actually, they're guaranteeing this loan for the lender, right? Okay. So that product is it lowers the risk for the lender. Okay.
Oh, no doubt.
Absolutely.
Because I've done this. We've looked at the foreclosure process on the VA loans, and once the bank takes it back, that's when the VA pays right? Is that how it works, or does the VA buy the loan after the loan's established? How does that work? It's basically an insurance policy for the lender, correct?
It is, but if it's the same thing as like with mortgage insurance. Mortgage insurance, that's not actually for the people who buy the home. And a lot of people don't realize that. It's actually for the lender. So if you don't pay your mortgage, they get something back from it.
Correct.
And mortgage insurance, as most people realize, is it guarantees 20%.
Right.
On a VA, a government-backed loan, it's 25%.
Oh, okay.
So the lender actually has more protection.
Right. So that's pretty interesting because obviously the HUD Home Store is where the FHA loans go when they're foreclosed on. The government pays the lender off, and then they end up with the home, and they put it up for sale in the HUD Home Store. Does the VA have a similar? I mean, I'm just working the investor angle now. Is there a website I can go to and get all the VA houses, or how does that work if it does fail? Like, because it is an insurance policy, the VA obviously is implementing, saying, hey, we want these repairs or we want this appraisal. They obviously are going to take possession of the home at some point. I mean, or at least think they will.
Yes and no, because in order to use VA financing, the lender has to be a VA approved lender, meaning that they have to agree to certain things. And one of those things is that they'll work with the VA in order to try to keep the veteran from actually going into foreclosure or from losing the home, because nobody wants that. It's not good for anybody except for the lender, perhaps.
I don't know. As a lender myself, I never want to take a home back. I used to think maybe there'd be something good about it, but now I'm like, no, I don't never want to see that home again. I just want you to pay money every month so I can get a couple of extra cups of Starbucks, because that's about how much we make on our wraps these days. We get 3 cups of Starbucks every month from each loan we did.
Awesome. So maybe if you go from Starbucks to like, what's that other one?
Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, no, I had to stick with Starbucks.
Or if I just fire up the coffee pot at home, I'd probably save some money.
Yeah, but not the Keurig though.
No. Well, actually, I don't know. I'm not Bushy. I got Folgers.
I love my Keurig.
I'm a Folgers guy.
Don't go there.
But so when you're doing the loan, you're establishing a loan. They might ask repairs. That's where we were talking.
Yes.
What are typically some of the repairs they might ask? I mean, what level do they have to have it to? Because I think 90% of investors that are flipping houses, the 90-day rule would kind of be the only holdback for them. But if it's a big, extensive flip, they're going to be into this deal for 90 days and probably already done all the repairs that the VA would require. Wouldn't you think? What do they look at? Do they look at roof or foundation? What are they looking for?
They're looking for, they want it to be habitable. They want it to be safe. They want it to be sanitary. They want it to be, because the VA, this program is specifically for primary residences. They want veterans in homes.
Correct.
They want them in a home that they can live in. Because if you move into a money pit, a hole, basically, what are you going to do? Are you going to be able to keep it up? Are you going to actually be able to make the repairs yourself? Are you going to or is it going to get to the point where you're just like, screw it, I can't do it? That's their only protection, for the VA.
That might be why we're taking houses back.
Quite possibly, but VA loans, the least foreclosed upon loan type of any type of loan.
Really?
Yes.
Well, that's interesting. That's really interesting. The interest rates are really low too, it seems. I know that I've seen them in the 3%, 3.75, 3.5, something like that. So when the agents come to you with those objections, if I'm looking to avoid that for my seller, do you have a checklist that you can give me and say, hey, this is what you would need to look out for? Obviously if the house is in disrepair, would it be worth it to list it with VA? Because if they're going to require the repairs, kind of back to the objection that the realtor originally had.
Now, here's the thing. When I'm listing a home, I always recommend that the seller get a home inspection regardless. And here's why. It's super simple. It's not just because, it's not an upsell at all.
You got a cousin with a home inspection business.
Probably.
No, I'm playing.
Probably.
I feel like every time somebody wants me to get a home inspection, I'm like, you got a homeboy. You're making $50 on this home inspection.
It's quite possible, but I only take payments in tacos.
So,
I mean, they might be the equivalent, just depending.
Well, I work for 3 Starbucks a month. How many tacos for a home inspector that might be watching?
It's going to take a boatload of tacos. I'm not.
She can
gonna
be
lie.
bought for tacos, guys.
Lots
she can
of
be bought for
tacos.
tacos.
They
So
have to be carne asada street tacos, though.
I asked her out to lunch, and she said no. I should have asked her if she wanted some fucking tacos. Maybe I'd have got a yes. So if you recommend they get a home inspection, then you get the inspection report. My experience in home inspections, inspectors have one job. You could have just remodeled the entire. It could be a brand new build, and they're going to come back with a whole list.
It's possible, but see, here's the thing: as a seller, if you're looking to sell your home,
Correct.
the moment you sign that offer and you take that offer, you lose a lot of your negotiating power, because from that point on, everything's a negotiation on the price, because you've already agreed on something, but now there's nowhere else to go but down. So you get repairs that are noted on a home inspection, which the buyers, if they're smart, if their agent's smart, they're going to have one.
They're going to get one.
Everything that they find is, in their mind, going to cost at least twice as much as it would cost if you had found it beforehand.
Yeah, I know, but
so as a seller, I want to advise you to get a home inspection, because that way we can take the legs out from under their objection before it ever becomes one.
This is true, but
people are what? Want to save money. They don't want to.
No. I mean, it's worth the $350, because then you'll find out you got termites and your foundation sucks. I mean, it's a given. You're going to find those two things on a home inspection.
Oh, not necessarily.
Well, I mean, I don't know. They're always, there's the boogeyman. You know what I mean? They find the boogeyman. So you'll find the big ones, but then when the next home inspection comes, they're like, oh yeah, this electrical wall deal here should have burnt down the house 7 years ago.
But see, here's the thing: if you do a home inspection as a seller, and you look at it, you see what the big issues are, you repair those, and you offer that to your buyers. Here I am giving out, some free real estate coaching here. Offer that to the buyers. Let them see it. They see that, okay, you know what, we've addressed it. We've taken care of those issues. Maybe they will, but a lot of times buyers just want to know that they're getting into a home that's been taken care of. They're not, necessarily trying to nickel and dime you. They may or may not decide to have their own home inspection done, but knowing that that one has already been done, they're probably a whole lot more likely to trust the process.
So when that comes up to the VA, do they give you a punch list of repairs? Do they say, I mean, how does that look? I mean, does it come from a home inspector?
No.
It comes from a VA inspector?
The appraiser.
The appraiser.
The appraiser. The only repairs that matter as far as the VA part is concerned is anything that's noted on the appraisal, on the notice of value, because they will say that this is how much the home is valued at if these repairs are made.
I got you.
So that that number is contingent upon those repairs being made and the home being safe and habitable and sanitary.
So you have the taco truck in the driveway the day the appraiser gets there on VA loans, and
well, you know what? There actually are some things you can do to make sure that the appraiser has a positive outlook. And these are not anything that's that's sneaky or nefarious or anything. It's just things that you can do in advance that make the appraiser feel warm and fuzzy when they get out there.
I have my own personal favorite. I repeat several million times while I'm working with the appraiser what I want the appraisal to be.
Does it work?
It works really well. We did an apartment appraisal, and we need like a $1.4 million appraisal to make the numbers work. But I kept saying $12 million worth of value. So, I mean, look, if we come back good, it comes back good. But really and truly, we actually got that appraisal back today, and I do not have the answer to what it was. But it works. I say this all the time when I'm talking to people. In the single-family resident, there's a lot. It seems like the appraisers have a lot more ego. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Because you don't have an option. When they come back with their appraisal, you live with it. You can't order another one. I don't know. In the VA process, can you order another one?
You can challenge it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. But what are the success rates of that?
Well, it depends. And really it depends on your agent, how educated they are, how much they know the process, and it depends on your lender. The lenders matter here's where a lot of people go wrong. They think that because it's a VA loan, a lot of people think, oh, well, that's a loan thing. That's a loan officer's job. Right. They should know everything about it. And real estate agents make this mistake a lot, where they're like, they let the lender drive this entire transaction.
Believe me, I know. Mm-hmm. I've got my own agent complaints, and that's on the list.
You can complain about agents, but we'll duke it out. But I am one, so I figure I can just call them out and say what.
But they do let the lender drive the process from there. They kind of remove their hands. It's funny how nobody wants to make a decision after it's under contract. It's like, we got to do this, we got to do that. I'm like, why don't we do this? And they're like, is that coming from you? I'm like, yeah. Can I get it in an email? Absolutely. Do this. It's everybody gets kind of wants to handle it with kid gloves, but in the need of the appraisal going bad in single family resident, I had one so bad that they didn't have the subject property in the right county. They didn't pull comps from the right county because they didn't have it in the right county.
Wow.
And then they had the name of the town. So we've got Freestone County is where they said the property was located. It was really in Limestone County, but then they gave the description of a town of all the surrounding towns were in Ellis County.
Wow.
And on that appraisal, since it was for an FHA loan, you better believe, I went in, guns a-blazing, hey, this is wrong. I called the appraiser myself and was like, bro, you need to fix this appraisal. Not only did you, he's like, well, the value's there. It made value. I'm like, yes, I know. But the FHA rejected the loan because they said the subject property lot size, which was it was on 32 acres, the comps that they pulled, it was greater than a 200% variance. And I was like, how's that my fault? That's the appraisal. The comps that they pulled is not even from the same county that the house is in.
Yeah.
And when I called the appraiser to be like, hey, bro, this is not right, they get like, oh, yeah, thanks for letting us know. And they changed what county it was in and then left all the same comps on there. And I was like,
well, how'd it turn out?
I would know that guy did not buy the house.
Oh, well.
We were not able to get that one closed. But in commercial real estate, I can order another appraisal as many times as I want. So the appraisers that I encounter there are a lot more easier to talk to. The ego's not there. They're more, hey, I like that or this and that. And I'm picking their brain the whole time I'm there. But then I'm also really, really optimistic. I'm like, hey, did y'all know Disneyland is coming in? And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, right down the road, Disney just bought some land. They're like, I have not heard that. I'm like, well, you might want to Google it. It's out there, I'm sure. Disney's been going to come everywhere for a long time. I don't know if where you grew up, if Disneyland was about to move in, but where we grew up, Disney's been supposed to move there for 30 years. Cleburne is another place that Disney was supposed to come. So if you Google it, it's verifiable facts that Disney is always thinking about these areas in Texas to put a theme park. Just put that one in your pocket. Next time you're with an appraiser, Disney's coming, no matter where you're at in the greater metroplex.
I sort of say, grew up in Alma, Arkansas. I don't know if anybody can verify.
Disney's not coming. So
yeah, probably not.
The appraiser comes with the list of repairs. Are they normally life-threatening repairs, or is it like unstop the sink?
The repairs are going to be, if you have to have floor coverings, so you have to have carpet on the floor or some sort of floor covering. You have to have, it has to be habitable. There's a list. There is a list.
Peeling paint.
Yes.
Is peeling paint on the list?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There are certain things that some people may or may not consider, reasonable or whatever. But here's the thing: it's just like with any other repair request you get, you don't have to do them. The difference is if you are or are not going to do them, they have to be done prior to closing on a VA.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well,
and you can't escrow it.
Oh, that one's tough. So, in other words, it has to be done prior to closing. Here's a little trick. This is something you probably know. I'm gonna throw out a gold nugget. So for those of you that end up in this situation, what we do, anytime there's repairs that are needed in between the time it's contracted and closed, we get the contractor in there to do the repairs, and then they get paid at closing.
We do the same thing.
Boom, gold nugget. Screen that shit. So that way you don't have to come out of pocket.
Exactly.
I mean, it might cost you from the proceeds, but these are probably things you're going to have to do. Unless it's a cash offer or something like that, it's probably something you're going to have to do anyways. So when we were talking, you were like up here talking about how agents can make more money, loan officers can make a higher percentage.
Well, they make more because they can sell more. I think I know what you're talking about. When I was saying that VA loans are better for everybody? Better for everybody
because the loan amount was higher, correct? So since the buyer it's a $0 down loan, correct?
Yes.
So if I'm buying a $100,000 house conventionally and I'm brokering that loan, they might have to bring 20%, so the loan would only be $80,000. So they would get paid on that percentage?
Well,
or how does it work?
Well, actually,
You take over.
what I was telling you was actually like, for instance, whatever you would be approved for on a conventional. If you're approved for $100,000, $200,000, just by virtue of being eligible for a VA loan, the amount you can be approved for is going to be higher because there's no PMI on a VA loan. Not only is there's no down payment, there's so that's a big deal. You're not coming, and which so you would be paying mortgage insurance. Then no PMI. I think most people don't realize. A lot of loan officers don't even realize the impact that has because it has such a dramatic impact on your debt to income ratio.
Yes.
So that not only would you be able to be approved for a higher amount.
Yeah. So like instead of being able to buy a $100,000 house, you could get a $115,000 house, and that $115,000 house might have a bidet.
And
your butthole's being sprayed.
And on top of getting your butt sprayed,
I mean,
your monthly payment's going to be less than if you had gone for the conventional.
You can drink out of those things too.
I know my dog has before, but I don't think I'd be that brave.
I'm just saying. This was something, I was trying to sell a $3,000 trailer house.
Did it have a bidet?
In the buy-sell trade groups. And this guy messaged me. I swear to God, he messaged me. He's like, what all is wrong with it? And I'm like, well, it's a $3,000 trailer house. Like, I mean, let's just use, he's like, what, I'm like, the bidet handle sticks every once in a while. Other than that, everything's good. Great, wonderful. And he was like, oh, great. And I was like, you don't even know what a bidet is. Like, he doesn't know. So if it did have one, he probably would drink out of it. So I'm tempted to put one in now.
I think you should.
Home Depot, anybody know what they cost? Run one by me. Drop one in the comment section. Let me know. And I'll install it into the trailer house and go live in Roughneck Real Estate, the group, when I'm showing it and confuse rednecks.
Just make sure that the handle works, please.
I've never actually seen one, so I wouldn't know. Not that fancy. I've never gotten that lost.
So can you imagine what people are going to be putting in the comments to tell you that it's a bidet? Oh, come on. These got to be some good ones here.
I mean, they might get a little savage. So they can get a better house, though. They can get a lot better house. And since the interest rate is lower, I mean, debt service coverage ratio is something we talk about a lot in commercial real estate. But, I mean, I guess, you can get a lot better house. I don't know what percentage. I mean, if I could get one for $100,000 on a normal loan, could I get one for $150 on a VA, or would it be just a little bit less? But that's good for the real estate agent too, because now you're not selling $100,000 commission, you're selling $120,000 commission. So,
and because the VA loan requirements, the VA doesn't set credit requirements, the lenders do. So if anyone tells you, oh, you have to have a 620 or a 600 or whatever, no, you don't. It's dependent upon the lender. Period. Okay. So,
because I've seen those ads where people are like 500 credit score VA loan. Mm-hmm. That's the lender. That's not the VA. The VA don't care. Like, I think you get a 300 for having a pulse. Mine's about 260. So I could probably still get a VA loan if I was a veteran. Correct.
Quite possibly, depending on whether or not you met the other requirements. You do have to have some income and that type of thing.
One of the things, and this is just, it's all coming back to me now when we were thinking about taking a VA offer. One of the things they said, though, was because people will go out and do this. They'll hire a credit repair person, dispute everything on their credit report, and I don't know if it's the VA or the lender, but if you have disputes on your credit report, then you can't get the loan. Typically, is the way I understood it at that moment in time. But that's probably the lender. They would pull your credit, and if they seen that you'd been disputing stuff.
I think it depends on the number of disputes and the reasons for it. I've kind of been going through with some different credit repair guys that I've been working with lately, just to kind of get some ideas, because it seems like a lot of people have those same questions. So I wanted to be able to provide some resources, but I don't necessarily think that that's entirely accurate. But I don't want to lie to you.
I don't know either. Olivia Berman is in Roughneck Real Estate. She does credit repair. She says she does not use disputes. She does something else, writes them a love letter or something. I don't really know. I don't know that process. I know this. I figured this one out the other day. If you've got warrants in like 47 counties, you can write them all a letter and plead not guilty.
And does that work?
I sent them all certified. I'll let you know next week. I don't actually know. It was a really depressing day. I just made one big letter and just filled in the cause number on all of them and signed them and sent them all out like evictions. So I'll probably piss off a judge somewhere.
Probably,
soon.
yeah.
I'll probably be in jail. So while we're debating whether or not I go to jail or not. We're going to take a break. We're going to hear from our sponsors. When we get back, we've been talking about some of the pitfalls of VA loans. We'll get into the good stuff. I mean, we've obviously can make a higher commission if we sell to VA because we can get a house with a bidet. But what else? Where else can we go right? So we'll see when we get back. Be right back after this.
The Propelio Academy, an all-in-one education resource for training in wholesales, subject to wraps, short sales, flips, rentals, BRRRR, property management, and more. Go to propelio.com/academy to get your scholarship today. Propelio.com. What does Propelio offer? Lead generating websites, access to true MLS comps, off-market lead lists, and deal alerts. Get them all today at propelio.com.
For those of y'all that don't know, Thomas had like something on his leg. He had like leg herpes. Almost died. I don't know what happened to it. But I was prepared to donate a kidney in need if the need arose. I didn't get to see him. So glad to have Thomas back. I don't know how long you've been back, Thomas.
I would have taken it.
How long you been back, Thomas?
I luckily got sick during the week off, so
dang.
So it worked out nicely.
Team no days off. So we went over some of the pitfalls, I guess is the way to say it, about VA loans. Mm-hmm. In your opinion, what's the best thing about the product? I mean, other than helping a veteran move into a home, I mean, if I'm a real estate agent and I want to list a house, like, convince me that I need to have that loan product on there.
VA loan product is the best loan product available, bar none, period. This is not my opinion. This is statistically provable.
Okay.
It's the least foreclosed upon. Statistically, it's most likely to actually go to closing, to actually make it through closing once it's signed. It's less risk for the lender. A lot of people have this thing where they're, these agents, they'll say, well, the buyer doesn't have any skin in the game because there's no money down. So, but and then they convince their sellers that somehow that's going to make a big deal to them instead of worrying about who cares what the down payment is.
I was about to say, that kind of makes me a little bit pissy. Like, I'm a little mad because that's nobody's business. There's a lot of awesome people out there in the world, that have plenty of money in the bank that would take a zero down loan, period, if it was offered to them. No doubt about it. Like, I'm taking the zero down every time.
It makes sense because you can use that money elsewhere if you're a smart investor.
Oh,
I mean, it just, but to put that thought in your seller's head that,
Right.
oh, well, they don't have skin in the game. So therefore, this is risky. For one, the seller really, honestly, do they really care whether or not, what happens after they close on the home? In reality, no, most of them don't. And why would you? You're selling the home.
Yeah, that's a different one to me. So what's something else?
The fact that you can get into a home 6 to 12 months faster than you could with any other type of home. The credit requirements are much less stringent on a VA loan, so therefore you're not having to work as long to repair your credit, to pay off debts, to save for a down payment, to do any of those other things. So now you're able to get into a home faster, and don't forget, more of a home faster.
Yes, and so if I'm the listing agent and I'm not offering that product, like, what would you tell them? Say, hey, look.
You're completely closing off an entire pool of buyers that are very strong buyers because these offers, they are very strong offers.
Oh, no doubt. There's no doubt that they're approved. Now, something, since we're an investment show, with a VA loan, can I buy like a fourplex or a duplex?
There are rules, but yes, if you want to buy one and you're actually going to live in one side, because remember, this is for a primary residence.
Oh, yes.
Yes, you can purchase as long as you are living there. And I am absolutely not an advocate of working the system as like walking that line, but as far as cheating the system. But you're living there. That's your residence.
I'm with it. Like.
And
look,
you can fund it. I mean, you can fund it through the other side.
What if? I mean, it's just hypothetical. Just saying. What if I buy me a fourplex? What's the greatest number of doors I could buy with a VA loan? Is it 4? Is it Is it 5?
Don't get me tripped up here. You have to have a primary. You have
You
to
have to live
live
in
there, and I'm gonna say 4. I could be wrong, but I think it's.
So I'm a veteran. I buy me a fourplex.
Mm-hmm.
I'm living out my best life. I'm living in one of the units. I got my cousins living in the rest of the units. I mean, we're living good. We play Xbox every day. Life is good. Then I get swept off my feet by a hot cougar Marine. Just swoops in. She does something with VA loans. She comes in. She snatches me up, and now I'm married. But she got a mansion with a bidet, and I just vacate out, and I put another cousin in the vacant unit. Are they checking that? Would I get in trouble?
No. You can actually, if you live in the home as your primary residence, and then you move somewhere else, you can actually even have more than one VA loan at a time if that's the case. But you can't buy a rental home. You can't say, okay,
you can't buy it for rental. But if you move on and move out, you can rent it after that.
Yes.
I don't know what y'all are thinking. I know what I'm thinking. I know what I'm thinking. I got friends. They veterans, and they got some good loan products out there. If y'all don't know about it, y'all should hit her up.
Yeah, call me.
Because she can help you get it approved. So, what else would you tell people about VA loans? Like, what would you like? There was you were talking like 8,000 miles an hour when we were on the phone the other day. Like, we talked for like an hour about straight up VA loans and baby mamas. So it was like, we did, but that was when you were talking about it. You said there was some benefits for disabled veterans that a lot of people don't know about.
Mm-hmm.
What are those things? Like what are some extra perky benefits?
Well, that pesky VA funding fee.
Yes.
If you have a VA disability rating of 10% or higher,
right,
you don't pay it.
How much is the fee?
Depends on. It can be as much as 3.3%, depending on how many times you've used the. You've used the.
Who pays
program.
it? The buyer or the seller?
The buyer, the veteran,
buyer.
the veteran.
Okay, so if you've got a higher than 10% disability,
If you got 10%,
or
that's it, or higher.
Yes.
Oh yeah, 10% or higher. That's it.
That's it.
That's
And that's pretty cool. So no loan origination, I guess, is the.
No, it's not the loan origination. The VA funding fee is actually a fee that they actually use to fund the VA program, program. But if 10% or higher, that fee is waived no matter how many times you've used the program. So, I mean, and that will save you thousands of dollars right off the bat. So if you're a real estate agent,
Okay.
you're going to be able to get clients into a home 6 to 12 months faster with less money out of pocket up front, less money out of pocket every single month that they own the home. If they happen to have a 10% or higher disability rating, you're going to save them thousands more right off the bat. So what would your clients do? I mean, would they not be happy? Of course. They're going to refer everybody they freaking know to you.
So the VA benefit in and of itself is earned through your service, correct?
Yes.
But the amount that you're owed is how do they determine what amount you can get? Like, for say I qualify for a $100,000 VA loan or $300,000 worth of benefit. What's the max?
Well, the max in most counties for 2019 is $484,200, I believe.
And you can spread that across as many houses as you want.
Well, yes and no. And no, actually.
Okay.
Not as many houses as you want. But you can purchase a home that's less than that amount. If you live in that home for, until you end up having to move from that home and you buy another primary residence,
Right.
you can use the remaining entitlement. And what a lot of people don't realize is that max loan amount doesn't mean that you can only buy a home that's that amount or less.
That's just all they're going to loan.
That's all that they will guarantee with no money down.
Oh, okay.
So anything, let's say you want to buy a $500,000 or $1 million home, if you can get approved for that loan, because the loan is through the lender. The VA doesn't do the loans. Lenders do. The private lenders do the loans. Banks and credit unions and whatever. If you can be approved for the loan,
okay,
the VA will guarantee that first $484,200 with no money down. Anything above that, you have to put a down payment on.
So if I go 100,000 above that,
You're going to put 25% of that overage.
100,000. So only 25,000 down, you can get a basically almost $600,000 loan for 25,000 down. That's some incredible math. And that's something I didn't know. I just learned a shitload about VA loans just with that little question. So I can spread it out against 2 homes, 3 homes? There's, I mean, I'm like, you know, I'm kind of like, if there's a veteran that's out there that's going to watch this and say, you know, I want to know what my benefit is. It's based on the county, or it's based on years of service. It's based on both. It's a formula.
Your benefit, the actual benefit itself, if you're eligible for it, there is a max loan amount, period.
Okay.
Now, when you use it, you use up a portion of your entitlement. You can have a one-time, or you can have your entitlement restored after you sell a home that you've purchased with a VA loan. You can do that, or you can also, if you still have the home, you can actually buy another one depending on your amount of remaining entitlement. This is not something to go and you know, I know this is not what you want to hear, but this is not something that's going to fund multiple investment properties at the same time. It's not going to. There are probably ways to work around it, but I'm going to tell you that you're going to, you know, you could.
No,
you
I
have 2 homes on it potentially, but you're not. This is not a way to, you know, to.
If a veteran wants to know how much they qualify for, I mean, obviously there's probably a website or something they can go to, or they can reach out to you and you'll help them out.
Reach out to me, absolutely. I work work with real estate agents across the country that are willing to either be coached on how to work, do this, you know, work with veterans, or they've got extensive, you know, background and experience in it. Same thing with loan officers and lenders across the nation, because I want to make sure that. Just because you have, you know, a veteran in your name, or you're United, or, you know, you're a New Day or whatever you are, you know, does not mean that that's what's best for veterans. They just have big marketing dollars, and I'm gonna be blunt and say I don't recommend most of those guys anyway.
Who do you recommend? You got a guy?
I have several guys. I have several guys, but that I send business to a lot, because they look out for the veteran. They're not putting, you know, ridiculous overlays on the product, because ultimately my goal is to help veterans get into homes, and there's enough money to be made in this product doing it the right way without trying to, you know,
buy 47 investment homes for $10,000 apiece, like me.
Yes, exactly.
I
mean, you know, if it works, it works. But, you know, this program was, you know, intended for, you know, for a purpose. And, you know, the sad thing is that less than 13% of eligible veterans have ever used this program.
You know, that's kind of the crazy thing about it, because I think there's a lot of people that will stumble across this on YouTube at some point down the road that are going to want to dig in and find out exactly what they are eligible for. Because I've actually seen, you know, we were buying a guy's house, and he only had like a $20,000 benefit, but he lived in the house. And I mean, now how much the house costs, I don't know, but we found his benefit paperwork. That's how we knew.
But see, here's the thing: do you know how to read the paperwork?
No, I did not. So I was like, but we just knew it was a VA loan on the house that we were buying. I mean, he was deceased. We were just being nosy and reading paperwork. No, because we were trying to give, like, if there was something relevant to the family that they would want back, like a medal or an award or something, you know.
Well, see,
so
here you bring up a good point. There are 2 layers of entitlement. So if you look at your certificate of eligibility when you order it, you're going to have your basic entitlement, which is $36,000, and then there's bonus entitlement. In order to access the bonus entitlement, you have to go over that $144,000 of the basic, like on your second use, your subsequent use. So if you have remaining entitlement, so you would have to buy something that's at least $144,000 in order for that bonus entitlement to kick in.
That's cool.
But when you get the COE, the certificate of eligibility, it shows that you have 0 on your basic entitlement. Unless you know how to look at it and read it and find the information, you might not realize that there's still bonus entitlement there.
So we got veterans watching. You might be able to buy a personal residence.
A primary residence, yes.
I got it, don't worry.
So anyways, I'm just saying, like, there's an opportunity there. Now, what interest rates? How does that work? That comes from the lender?
It comes from the lender.
Is there a cap on it since it's a VA, or is it?
Well, I mean, your interest rates, basically, it's interest rate on a loan. I mean, you know, there's the government, you know, the government rate, but then there's also, it's going to depend on your credit score.
Okay.
It's going to, you know, it's just like with anything else. So,
because a lot of the VA loans we see are really low interest
they do
rates, like lower than I see anywhere else. Only loan I've seen with lower interest rate, I've seen a 2%, 2 in the 2s USDA loan, which is another 0 down product that is out in the country stuff. And I was like, what? But it also had like this huge prepayment penalty on it, and I was like, well, that's kind of. I get what they did here. I see what they did. But anyways, yeah, it was. There's some interesting things about it. I didn't know if the VA, kept the interest rate low or had a max interest rate they would allow the lender to charge for my 260 credit score. Get 300 for breathing. I'm basically dead. So, anyways, that's neat. Where can people find you if people want to reach out? If they want to get to know you, where can they find you? Where would they go?
Well, I'm on Facebook.
Okay.
And you can email me, or I give out my phone number all the time. I probably shouldn't, but I do anyway because I just help people.
Her phone number's on her Facebook. I found it and I called it. So.
Is it?
It is. That's where I got it.
I think I may have locked my Facebook number.
I'm just saying it's on there. But if they wanted, Melinda. I call it anyway. Melinda Enfinger. On Facebook. What about do you Twitter? I'm
on LinkedIn.
Instagram?
I'm on Instagram, and I can give you my email address.
Yeah, drop it.
It's melinda@lrgtexas.com.
So, any questions you have about veteran financing? She's not a loan officer, but one of her missions in life is to help people get approved for this loan product. She works with people, lenders, veterans every day to do this, to educate people on it. Y'all reach out to her. If you got any questions, where do we have any questions in the comment section, Thomas? Did you see any?
Not yet.
So come back to this, Melinda. Come back to the comment section. You're tagged in it. Come back to the comment section and chat it up with the people. And then also on YouTube, it's like one of those things where I still ain't figured out YouTube comments. They can be vicious. Y'all mean on YouTube because it's anonymous. They can be a little mean.
Well, some people are mean on Facebook too, but it's whatever.
Yeah, but you can get them fired on Facebook. I think when they do it on YouTube, they'll never lose their job, so they're a little bit more savage. But anyways, we'll come back to the comments and we'll answer questions.
Okay, sounds good.
Agree to that?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Melinda. Propelio, thanks for having us. It's a short, quick show. We're gonna get out of here. I got to go get Emery. By 8, I think, is what time I got till. So I'll see y'all later.
Oh no!
Hold on, Thomas. Hit the button, Thomas. Hit the button, Thomas.
There we go. Look at that. Propelio TV is sponsored by Noble Mortgage and Investments, Basket Tracing, Think Multifamily, CreativeCashflow.com, and Lifeonaire.
Thank you, everybody, for showing up to the Propelio event. We had a great time. It's huge, as always. We love everybody that came. If this is your first event, jump on Facebook, jump on YouTube. Let us hear it. Let us know what your thoughts are. We love feedback. Anytime we could do something better, we want to do that. If this is your second event, your third event, your 10th event, let us hear that too. We're trying to create a community here where everybody comes together. So thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you at the next one.